That's how we start. I love it.
Are we on screen or just my?
Yo, we're absolutely on screen.
Oh, of course.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm doing the post that tells people that we are. Second, I should have done this ago. Okay. Completely messed that up, but that's okay because I am actually an IT professional. It just doesn't show most of the time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Kinetic TTRPG. Fun fact, there was a disconnect between when I originally created graphics for this particular game and then when I started advertising it. So there are some graphics that say Kinesis, right? Because I think at one point that was going to be the name of the stream, right? So I noticed that today when I was going to post a graphic. I was like, and Kinetic TTRPG, and I was staring at my screen and this says Kinesis TTRPG. Okay, we're going to pretend like that didn't happen. So if you see graphics that say Kinesis and then we're saying Kinetic TTRPG, it's the same thing. There's just a lot of time between when I did the graphics and then we actually got off the ground. We're off the ground now. So, thank you for joining us. Get comfortable. It's going to be a couple hours and some change of adventure. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is Kinetic TTRPG, an actual play using a system that I created called Kinetic TTRPG. It's a simple system that involves successes versus failures based on the number on a die, but there's no d20 involved. We're starting with d6s and we work our way up, counting by 2s until we get to 12. And most stories usually wrap up when you get to that point, but we probably won't get there by the time the end of this season, but that's what next season is for. The rules, the mechanics, and so on will be released at a future time. That is a commitment that I have made. If you watched my shows before, you've seen Composure that used a very similar system, except we focus on momentum versus impact, and that was more focused on musical puns and theory. With all that said, we are on episode 3. That means it's the episode before the finale. We have all of our players, that means we have all of our characters. And who wants to volunteer to give a recap? I'll even give you 2 points of impact if you do it from the perspective of your character.
Quickly going to look at how much impact I have.
Okay, well, I was going to say, if no one's going to volunteer... So, last week, we had a very interesting meeting wherein I finally decided to move away from the bench with Ahui, and together we decided to join our compatriots who seem to be having a meeting of some kind with a couple of people, only one of which I knew. And after seeing them have what seemed to be a rather tense exchange, one of them looked at me and said, "Absolutely not," and then left with no further comment. The other two followed suit, but not before Ahui took a battery that they had been charging and effectively ruined their car. For reasons that I'm sure that Ahui is very justified in having for doing so.
Yes, it was in my way. Emotionally.
Sometimes that is enough. Shortly after that set of exchanges, the lady of the lot, as it were, everyone's favorite auntie and then some, showed up with an umbrella that had bullet holes that she declined to explain. But she is very observant. She noticed subtle uses of my abilities and of the abilities of others. She had several conjectures about what that meant and where those things came from. And she ushered us into her home, where we were to sit down and kind of figure things out. On the way to her home, we walked past a hole in the ground that had some kind of device. When Eisen used the device, it blasted him back quite a few yards. When Rose used the device, there is a pronounced heightening of, hold on, what are Rose's pronouns real quick?
He may.
There was a pronounced increase in their sensitivity to metal things. I'm not exactly sure the full extent of what holding the device did, except that there was more of whatever their powers were. The device also scanned Alec, but I'm not sure what that means. We had a little bit of extra intel on what the prototypes for those devices were made for, but we weren't sure why they left it underground and in the middle of town.
Oh no, I think I shared with the group that basically the gist of what you guys needed to know in the moment while we were there and why we needed to move it is because those machines were meant to be left somewhere and then not disturbed or messed with, because they continue to use the power, the affinity of the person who imbued their affinity into it. So basically it was a placeholder for whoever left it there, and it was buried underground so that nobody would find it, and it would just be left there and do its probably evil deed.
They took a couple of styrofoam plates in a moment of just being like, okay, someone has to figure out what to do here, so I'm going to do the leadership thing. Took 2 styrofoam plates and some tape and rolled that thing up and telekinetically moved that to Auntie's house, where we had cake and some tea. And lingering in the back of my mind is a warning from the people that we encountered. They told us to watch the stars.
Mm-hmm.
With no real idea whatever the heck that means. And for me, a low-level panic. I also, as is my custom when we have these momentous moments, decided to draw a tarot card. And it was the same card, incidentally, that I drew the last time we had one of these major life-altering things. It was the Justice card that I gave to Eisen, who seemed to be kind of, whether mentally or emotionally, caught at a crossroads. And those are all of my notes from the perspective of my character, at least.
Alrighty then. So yes, everyone was at some point in the evening at Auntie Jules, who was making sure that you were fed with cake and other things that she had on hand. Now, an important question to see where we begin tonight's session is, would you all endeavor to stick around and have longer conversations about figuring out what to do, or would you all decide to reconvene the next morning, seeing as for some people it's still the night after work, other people had just gotten off work, and others, like Alec, had been out of town on an errand and rushed back at the insistent and quite persuasive rambling of their semi-family / boss in the city. Now, at this point, Alec is adopted. It doesn't really matter. Auntie Jewel has claimed this child as her own. But so yeah, the question remains: would people stay and all into the wee hours of the morning, or would people say we need to come together in the morning and restart this conversation?
I live here.
Yeah, so I mean, like you.
Well, Rose would absolutely offer anyone who needs it a ride home because the van is nigh indestructible and is always ready. So
Yeah, Ahui would have to take Rose up on that offer because their ride just left them there, and I'm not entirely sure how far away Ahui's apartment is from where they are right now.
Oh,
Ahui
no.
doesn't really leave the house much, unless it's like to train or whatever, so doesn't really know the neighborhood that they've been in, no matter how long they've been there.
It's like, where's your house from here? I don't know.
It's towards the apartments. There is one apartment like complex in this
okay.
whole town, and that is near the north entry, not far from North Tower. So from here, it's a good maybe 5 or 10 minute drive.
Okay.
From where this is, so yeah, it's definitely better to ride in the rain as opposed to try to walk it.
I would do. I think I would do what I normally do at this time of the day. It's relatively late at night, right?
Mhm.
And is it? I'm imagining it's still raining a bit.
It is raining still.
Now, here's the question. As I kind of look out of a window and into the sky, are there clouds or is it just rain?
You remember the key part from the first time the rain was described. Normally, there's just clear skies here. The skies are always clear. Today, they're full of clouds. It's one of the first times that anyone, if they were looking from the towers, could not see the night sky reflected on the surface of the water collected in the crater.
Then I would go home, but I would be very sad about it.
Before you leave, you have Auntie Jewel, who is wrapping stuff up with plastic wrap and just handing out plates of food and waving around any refusal to take things, but definitely lets you all know, if you want answers about what is happening here on the stars and everything else, you need to go talk to and she sits there and thinks, you need to go to the lyrical layer and you need to go talk to Soul. The lyrical layer is the record store. It doesn't just have records, it has cassettes and so on. It's located in the same area that like the lot is and so on, so it's like round the corner from here. But it's the only place to buy music, and also books, like random books will be here as well. So, and you could talk to Soul and maybe learn a little bit about the town that you live in, and perhaps this will give you the space and place to find out more. She looks around. And there is a very soundproof place in that location that might be better for you all to go visit.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
So the morning then, yeah?
Does Ahui have work in the morning?
We
Or are
can
we
say,
on, like-
for convenience sake, it's the weekend, so no.
Okay.
'Cause I'm telling the
yeah.
story.
Does the okay? Is there anywhere in town this is going to sound? I promise this is going to make sense. Is there anywhere that has an observatory?
Every one of the towers is technically an observatory. The towers, to give people a reflection, there's a crater in the center of this town, hence Crater Cove. It's a big hole in the ground. It usually has water in it after it rains, and it becomes like a lake. Then there's dry spells. The surface of it and the water is so clear that it reflects the night sky. It's all touristy, but tourists don't do well here unless they are invited. There are 4 towers, almost set up like a compass. There's a north tower, south tower, east tower, and west tower. and they are high enough to overlook from where they are the gorge. So they're watchtowers, observatories. It might be the first time some of you actually think about what they actually might be there for, but they're like, that's how you know what side of town you're on. Is
Okay. Well, I think about it and I think about it some more that I'm just like, maybe I'll just sleep at the record store.
okay, if you want to go sleep at the record store, you can. I mean, I can get you some pillows and some blankets, and you can come sit here on the couch and then leave at Alec in the morning. That way, you know you have a good breakfast. But we have to make a decision soon because it is 3 hours past my bedtime, and I sleep.
No, I've got extra places to have people stay at the junkyard. It's all right. There's enough space for Orfi or anyone else. We need to go. She needs to get her rest and everything. So, rides for Ahui, Orfi ride, Eisen ride. Okay,
Yeah, I'll-
everyone
hold on,
except
wait.
Alec.
So, wait, she didn't mean go to the record store now?
No, do not go to the record store in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah,
This
no,
is
they're
not
closed.
polite.
They
Oh.
open at 8:30. Usually they're there at 8. I go there a lot, way too much. But yeah, we'll go there in the morning. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess in that case, I'll go home.
Okay, okay. This is nice. This is nice. Okay, and we've got the person that is going to drive. We've got the people that are going to go home. Alec, you basically are home. So, yes, it has a knife time. Okay, okay. Please get out. I mean, I love you and I care, but please leave my home at this time. You have brought the. Wait a minute. Are you going to leave the oogie boogie in the bathroom?
No, it's okay. Ahui's going to go rush. Ahui's got enough experience with elders to be like, nah, I'm absolutely not leaving this in your bathtub, ma'am. And is going to grab the cellophane wrapped plate on either end device and hold it tightly and be like, I'll keep it at the apartment and I will take it with us tomorrow morning.
Oh, that is wonderful. Because if I come in and my whole bathroom is under the water, oh, it is good that I have some kind of faith that keeps me from going to jail. All right, everybody, please get out of my house.
Okay.
Okay,
you.
care about
All right.
you.
We'll pick
I
you up
head
at
out.
8, Alec. Sorry, Sin, interrupted you.
Oh, no, not at all. You see Orfi just make like a beeline straight into the woods.
You just Auntie Drew is standing at the front of the store watching you all leave. You know, I sometimes worry, but anyone that can keep their looks that well maintained, you don't have to worry about them. They know how to take care of themselves.
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll be fine. I'm gonna go back upstairs to working out.
Okay, you do that. Make sure you get some sleep, though. You have to get some sleep.
There is a section of the woods where, near where Orfi lives. Orfi decided to live in the woods because of side effects of having the powers that they have.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is in the section of the woods that they're in, depending on whether they have normal sleep, good dreams, or nightmares, the trees are near where he lives, are oddly sized, like trees that are normally tall are taller or shorter than usual, but never the appropriate size.
All right. Apartments and garden. Great.
Did we ever introduce ourselves
Mm-hmm.
to
I
each other?
think.
I don't remember. Well,
Very quickly.
canonically,
Yeah.
Ahui is going to. Ahui was not paying attention. We had other things to do. I did not pay attention to anybody's names. Is just gonna like look like when you know your like apartment's guarded. What are your names again?
Hello. I am Eisen.
Eisen.
And I'm Rosemount, or you can just call me Rose.
Will do.
My name is
The little one. That ran
Orfi.
off. It's Orfi.
Orfi. Just kind of.
Just yelled from the forest. It's like an echo in the wind. Hits my spirit.
You all should really. She will get the hose.
Okay, get in the
All
car.
right.
Get in the
Yeah,
car.
everyone in the back.
I've opened the car door and
As you hear like the
van door.
squeaking of like the spigot turning in like the kitchen nearby.
Here's some singing, and I am telling you. Jesus. Yeah, and
This is
that-
good.
That wasn't in character. That's just Honey. That's what Honey would do. If you intrude upon Honey's bedtime. Honey's home.
Don't expose me like that. Anyways, and is there anything particular that anybody wants to do? Any special scenes between people before we fast forward to the morning, or do you want to just go ahead to the morning?
I'm okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something after we drop Ahui off. Just
Okay.
because Rose and Eisen know each other. As
Yeah.
Rose is driving to the garden,
Mhm.
Rose just says, "Hey, you did a really good job today."
Thanks. It doesn't feel like it, you know. I almost lost it back there for a second. Just seeing Team 42 again just put me back into that into the competitive mindsets and just win at all costs strategy, you know. I thought it was
Yeah.
over it.
Well, I got two things for that. One, you didn't lose it. Not that you almost lost it, you didn't. And you succeeded there. So objective number 1 completed. So if you're being competitive, you're already kicking their ass. And then part 2 of that, your objectives changed. Since you've been there, since you've been with Team 42. You're a different person. You're not who they made you, you're who you want to be. And you're doing a good job at it.
It really helps to reframe it that way. I did you is that something you learned when
At the
growing up in
garden?
the garden? Yeah.
Absolutely not. No. That was an indoctrination machine. It's complicated. They saw each of our powers as like a plant, you know? So like trees you have to water a certain way, flowers you have to go certain ways. So depending on your power, they started to mold you in different ways. They saw what I could do with my power, and they started to treat me like sort of a living weapon a lot of the time. And you know, they also came in with like, oh no, but we're all part of this greater ecosystem and everything, and it's all bullshit, really. And like there are some good things in the teachings, like important things like community and caring for each other and everything like that, but they were really finite about who each of us are and what each of us can do. Yeah. So
It's interesting because the goals seem to be very similar, but completely different in the direction, the way we were taught at the Forge. You said you were meant to be a weapon. Very much true on our side, but they only wanted the best of the best, the ones that can follow directions, the ones that were most efficient at the task at hand. And in in order to rise up, in order to graduate, there was a lot of stuff that you needed to abandon, push away to be effective, to be efficient. So, and it's doing that for so long, it's hard to shed that. So, seeing it on from the other side is just it's weird. It's different. It's new, but Rose, I thank you. Like seriously, I don't think I could have done it alone. Really finding out who I want to be. So,
Hey, well, I'm always here for you, whether you're in control or if you lost it. Whatever, I don't care. You're always welcome, and I want you in my life. Okay.
appreciate that.
And now we got 3 others that are now in our lives, and look at all we're all super powered weirdos. It's awesome. Just like, oh man, this is gonna be great. Just think about all the ways we can learn from each other. I'm excited. Anyway, we're at your place. I don't want to keep you. You should get some rest. Make sure you drink some tea to get yourself cooled down. And I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. Okay.
You don't need to pick me up tomorrow morning. I think I'm gonna go for a run.
All right,
Meet you
so-
at the record store.
At the record store. Solid. I'll see you then, man. Have a good night.
Thanks, Rez.
Got it.
And I'll slide the van door shut.
The moment the door shuts, absolutely catastrophic death metal turns on and the van pulls away.
Alrighty then. The rain continues to fall. Now, some of the plants are benefiting from the rain. The reservoir is filling back up. An old individual wearing like yellow from head to toe protective gear is squinting through the rain trying to see, and then just pretty much mutters something about being too old for this and just walks out. Like, they have a job, but it's raining. They didn't sign up to be looking through thick rain. And sunsets and sunrises are usually very beautiful in Crater Cove. It's a gray morning. And the grocery store, there's a tentative knock on the door, and somebody leaves another random carton of fruit. This time it's apples. And by now, Alec, you understand this is going to happen probably once or twice a week. And the person who leaves very, very quickly. And there's a short amount of time that you have to like either make it seem like it's normal part of produce or hide it before she comes down and sees more unasked for fruit.
I will. Is there a kitchen that is not in her part of the store that's her home?
Yes.
I want to, because oh, captions are down.
Oh, they're back.
I just saw something. Okay,
They're
they're
back.
back. All right.
Radical. I will continue now that captions are back, and anyone can. Well, I would like to take the apples. I want to like add some to our normal produce, and the other ones I want to go start make it look like I was like gonna make like a baked apple pie. Now, like I got these apples when I was out on my errands to surprise her or something. I went to like or I don't know, you know. So that's what I would like to do.
And Auntie Jewel, when she does come down, it's with like she still has her bonnet on and her thick glasses and her house slippers that do make the sound against the floor as she walks into the grocery area and looks around with her hands on her hips. I commend you for your work ethic, but you have like superhero stuff to be doing. So grab yourself an apple and just leave.
Superhero stuff can wait.
Oh, you are so caring.
This is gonna take me like 5 minutes. I don't have to pretend I don't have superpowers. So just
Okay, do yourself and cook the food and do the stuff that you are doing. I'm going to go back upstairs and put on my hair. So, you've got this?
yeah, it'll be fine. I thought it'd be nice to leave you a pie because I'm gonna go do superhero stuff and I don't know what'll happen.
Oh, that is so sweet. But what will happen is you will do the superhero things, you will come back and you will come back to work. It will be a normal thing. The superheroes movies is so overrated. You could never have a world if everybody is just, oh no, the superheroes is gone. Of course not. They go, they do their job, they come back.
Well, yeah, but they don't always come back, and it's not a movie. Like, I didn't.
It is a whole airplane.
Yeah,
I was gonna say there's a
it's an
jet
airplane.
engine outside.
Yeah.
Plane goes over town. They woke up Godzilla.
Okay.
Oh.
It's time. No, okay, so like, I didn't take like a serum, or I don't have like metal bones, or, you know, like, I could still like just get stabbed. So
Then don't get stabbed. If you get stabbed,
I
that
don't-
means you are not good at your job. You went to go train at like the Supermarine boot
Yes.
camp.
yes, but I'm saying
If
it
you
doesn't.
get stabbed, I will. If I don't have a belt, but I will get one if you get yourself stabbed.
Okay, but like, if I get stabbed to save someone else from being stabbed, things happen. Just
But
someone
you are
making a
not
pie-
allowed to get stabbed because I care about
Okay,
you.
I thank you, and that's why I'm making.
You can
the
get
pie.
shot. You
I
can
can
get
get sh-
burnt.
Oh,
You can get other injured, but not a stab. We have to set boundaries.
I'm holding this pie like warming it up in my
Yes.
hands, and I'm like, is there a reason why, like, it not like getting stabbed isn't okay, but like the other ones are okay? Like, is it just like because I mentioned stab first? Like, if I had said like blown up, would be like you can't get blown up, but you can get stabbed. I'm just really trying to follow you here, Auntie, and why stab?
Because she bustles around, starts putting the coffee. Listen to what I am going to say before you go and help these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Know why you want to do this. You have to know the why. Do you know why I have been married so many times?
Because you're too powerful for any one person to contain?
I would think you are looking for a raise, but you set your own paycheck, so that is not what is happening. We all get the opportunity to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
Love is a good thing. And sometimes you can have a romantic love with somebody and connect in that way. But other times you can use the legality of this situation that you are in to help people escape situations that they do not want to be in.
Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. Do you? Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm helping because I don't trust anyone from the place I'm from, and if they're here in the town, they're up to no good.
That is a good reason. See, you have a good reason why, and you will help. I married so many men because, and not just men, but I married so many people because they needed an excuse to stay here so they would not be sent back to where they were.
No, that's a good
And
reason.
I had to stay focused on why. Now, sometimes they be like, you say, I am powerful, I have got it, I am the age that I am, and oh, in my heyday, I was even more powerful. I cannot help what people think when they get into me feelings and stuff, but I always knew why I was doing it, and it would be very selfish for me to get distracted, so I did not. Now I am old and I do not need to do this anymore, so now I can look for love.
You're a good teacher.
Of course I am a good teacher.
Way better
I'm-
than the Crucible. Oh God.
Most people put too much, they do extra. You want to teach someone how to fly? You say, okay, there's nothing underneath you. You flap your wings or you fall. Now you put a net there. But the idea that they may fall or something makes them a little bit more, I'm going to flap the wings and to see if we can do something, right?
Yeah, they didn't
don't-
use in that.
You don't need to do that. Oh, I spent all the hours and study of your wings, and if your wings don't work, this will happen. And let's train you with the fan. Let's train you with the trampoline. You don't have to do all of that. Now, it's not like the people that just throw the baby underwater. I saw that on the little. What is that? The what is that? Is the cylinder the U cylinder? What is this?
The U cylinder?
Is it with the little movies?
Okay. I'm gonna be real. I'm not sure what you mean.
Oh my god, the YouTube.
YouTube.
The cylinder thing. So, I be watching the videos sometimes and stuff pop up, and then I saw they took the baby, they threw it in the water.
Do you
And
mean
this
YouTube?
is how I picture how they trained you. Yes, that is what I said.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean I won't bore you with how they trained us. By bore, I mean bring up anything that I should probably talk to a therapist about first. So, here's your pie. It's cooled off.
I am going to I have some ice cream in there. I am going to put this on here. I'm going to eat this for my breakfast, because when you are as old as I can, you can eat whatever it is that you want for breakfast.
Absolutely.
Pie.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Auntie. I'm gonna get going. I'll see
Don't
you later.
get stabbed.
I won't get stabbed, and I can't get burned, so that's 2.
Ha 2 out of what? How many possible ways that you can be injured? Tap on the thing. You showed me how to look the things up.
You want to Google how many ways you can get hurt?
There was definitely a TV show about that.
Yeah, I hit the record store.
To describe the lyrical layer, it has a classic, like an old, from maybe the 50s or 60s, built and then updated in the 70s kind of feel. The sign has been repainted several times, but you can't get directly to the doors off of the street. There's like a fenced in area with grass and so on, and there are 2 peahens. They have water and food and little houses out there in the front. And on one house is written and painted in shaky letters, Puck. And on the other house is written in shaky letters, Biggie, because those are the names of the peahens, Puck and Biggie. It doesn't have to make sense, okay? For those who have been to the record store, you know there's a little bowl of food towards the front of the gate, and you take a couple of pellets out and drop them before you come in. Because it's raining like it is, the peahens are in their houses, so it's probably safe to just head to the front, where there's an overhanging awning and a couple of crates of new records that have come in and so on, that have just been set out, and that's the lyrical layer.
Yeah.
First.
Well,
I want to say like one thing, just because I think this will be fun. Notably, Orfi is not there yet.
Okay. Who is there? Her Rose.
Yeah, Rose. I was gonna say. So Rose is probably picking up Ahui and Alec, and taking them there.
Have the device still in its cellophane styrofoam plate encasing
Perfect.
with me. I put it probably in like a tote bag type situation, so that I'm not just openly carrying it.
Yeah.
Is it like one of those recyclable bags from the grocery store, or is it a tote?
It's like a tote from like a bookstore, and it has like some sort of book pun on it, just like screen printed. I've never touched it or used it before. It was forced upon my person because I made the mistake of going into a store when there were people in it. And they gave me a tote, and I tried to say no, and they wouldn't take no for an answer. So I had a tote bag and a bad day, and I went home. I hate people. I hate interacting with people. I hate going out. It was a bad day, but it's useful now, so it's fine.
It all works out in the end. So you all arrive, and are you all going to linger outside? Are you going to go up to the door right away? Did you get there at 8:30, or did you get there a little early?
I imagined getting there a little early.
Yeah, maybe like 8:15, 8:20.
Yeah, cause I'm doing the exercise. Would have been like a I don't know, like one of those morning runs, I guess, and then stopping to grab like I don't know, fruit, something healthy to eat after a run, and then go into the record store, trying to get there, but at around 8, but missing the mark by a couple minutes. So I think Eisen would be there loitering in the store for a few minutes before everyone else gets there.
The doors don't open until 8:30, so you might be under the awning outside of it. The little closed sign is flipped so that you can see it. And the peahens don't like the rain, so they just are kind of mean mugging out of their homes at everyone that is entering the yard. And making those distressed kind of peacock sounds.
I'm sorry, can I get that Foley work again? Incredible.
Thank
It's
you.
just,
If there's a turkey that comes by, I got you.
How big are these enclosures?
They have like doghouse sized homes, one on each side of like a pathway that leads to the front door. And again, like one says Biggie and the other one says Pop. These are some spoiled peahens, but they are currently just disgruntled because it is raining. So
I can't help them with that. I just wanted to.
Yeah. And you fully know they are cussing you out. Like you just fully know that is what is happening.
Some cusses
But
just
at 8:30, and when does
transcend
Orfi
language.
get there?
It depends. Does someone come and retrieve her? If not, it would be like 30 minutes after the opening of the store. If anyone decides to try to find me before then, there will be shenanigans.
Okay, so hold on to that thought. The door opens at exactly 8:30, right? And standing there is a individual that is familiar to anyone who comes to visit the store. Soul is, even though his name is spelled SOL, he's like the embodiment of laconic soul. He kind of sits there in like a comfortable t-shirt and some some jeans, of course, slides that are probably Adidas or Nike. Who knows? They're just comfortable. Long hair pulled back in a low, like long, dark, curly hair pulled back in a low ponytail, a couple of hoops in each ear. And he just looks at each person. He's about in his 40s or so, third or fourth generation owner of this store. As he's okay, was there an album release that I didn't?
Oh, no, sorry. We just heard that there were some booths that we can borrow. The soundproof ones.
There's a moment where Soul goes, and as soon as Soul comes out of the place, that the peahens peek out, look just sweet as can be, like while he's walking in the front, and just Soul's like, y'all had attitude all last night. Y'all know what you did. You stay in there until lunchtime. They go back in and keep grumbling. It's like,
Can you talk to animals?
what? Like, yeah, we can all talk to animals. Those are my babies, you know.
Yeah,
They got a
no,
little
yeah,
attitude,
yeah,
but-
yeah, super normal. Yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of mad last night because it started raining, and then like I wouldn't let them into the living room. They could only go into the bathroom, and it was a whole thing. Then they decided
Normal
to,
home animal stuff. Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
and they went outside, and I was like, well, then fine, stay out there. And then they went into their houses, and so I locked up. And then this morning, they've just been, hey, you watch your mouth. Oh, he just leads y'all. Come on in. Just finished the sweeping and dusting and pauses. How do y'all know about the sound thing?
Auntie.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I nod along.
So
just
are you? So your soul?
Yeah. Don't think I've seen you in here before. Not a music lover?
No.
Oh, that's why we haven't really crossed plans. Like, I don't really like people, but I love music, so it's like,
You had me at I don't really like people.
yeah.
Auntie told us to come talk to you, and that maybe we should talk in the booth.
Or are you expecting any more? Because if we do
Just
this,
us.
No, we're missing one.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, Orfi, the locks. I saw
Oh.
where they went. I'll go run and see if I can find them.
hi. So we're gonna cut from this scene right quickly to the forest where the trees are this way, that way, and there's a in full yellow with galoshes that go up to his knees. More so because he's short, not because they are knee height. And if Paddington Bear was turned into a person, and then that person was at least 70 something years old, that is what Zeke looks like. Now, underneath his like, someone is saying that it's quiet. Doing a quick sound check. Is it quiet for anybody else?
I can hear.
I do not know what it is that people cannot hear, but let's see about doing these things.
Okay, we'll try to get the sound.
Oh yeah,
up.
it did go out on my end. I'm looking at stream.
Okay.
Oh, it is very quiet.
Okay. Want to give it a brief pause to see if we can get the sound. Okay, so
That is about as loud as I can make things. without trying to blow out everybody's eardrums, which I'm sure no one wants.
No. Is everything okay now?
Is it better?
Is it a little bit better for people? Going to go ahead and assume yes.
No
and
need to
continue.
apologize.
people-
We appreciate the feedback.
It's good. Good
Mm.
feedback.
Alrighty then.
We're saying it's better.
This is Zeke. Now, normally Zeke has his security guard uniform on with a very large flashlight that he is very proud of, and a ball cap, but he's got on his rain gear because he's a serious security person, right? And in this clearing where the trees are up and down and so on, Zeke has moseyed his way out here and just stands there with his hands on his lower back and that help support his very wonderful fluffiness, and he goes, Orfi! 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 And that's just outside your home morning. Orfi, I know you hear me talking to you.
If he's yelling at the house, which I'm assuming he is,
Yes.
what he would hear are like the sound of a dull thud coming from a couple of 100 yards away behind the house.
Six. Oh, what's that? Something fell. Okay, I got this. I got this. Zeke gets his flashlight out and holds it like somebody's gonna hold a bat when one of these comes around the house. Very carefully. Hey! Security! Something out here?
While Zeke is walking, he notices that the further back beyond the house he goes, trees. Well, if he's paying attention to trees, and I imagine that Zeke is a person who has spent years being very aware of their surroundings, that all of the trees bend in a certain direction, almost like they're pointing at a thing, and the further in he goes, the more of a bend there is.
Oh, my goodness. Orfi, don't make me come in. Why the tree? Orfi, we've been over this. I'm too old for this. You can't make the trees do stuff. People gonna come around this corner and say, hey, Zeke, why the trees pointing? I don't know why the trees pointing. Orfi.
When he finds me, I am in what looks like a clearing, kind of going around a tree. I think Zeke would be able to gather like this is some kind of martial arts form because there is a tree that I'm like fighting with, and then there's like about 100 yards of space until like the next tree happens, all in a circle around this one tree. Oh, sorry, was I disturbing you? Did I do something?
You just have Zeke say, you know what? I ain't even gonna ask. I will say I'm pretty sure there's some community guidelines somewhere that says you can't fight the trees. I think that's somewhere in the guidelines. There's a natural preservation.
I tried to ask
and
first.
so on.
I tried to ask first.
Who do you ask? Who you go ask in the city? Can I fight a tree? Who did you ask that?
I gesture at the tree itself.
Okay. Not now one of these trees signs my paycheck. I'ma just level set with you. So if they are making executive decisions about who can and cannot fight them, I don't know nothing about that. I don't want to know nothing about that because I'm pretty sure they don't have access to money. And they need money in order to buy stuff because we live in a capitalist society And that's just how the life goes. Now, Orphan, I see you last night. I know it's because the clouds was out. I was just wondering, you know, can you tell the trees that they look? I don't like nothing looking over my shoulder. It make me feel real uncomfortable, and they still bending this way, and it feels like something is watching me. Can you
I don't know if you want me to make a roll for this or not, but I'm just going to like make a stretching motion because one, I do kind of need to stretch, but two, to see if I can at least bend the trees just a little bit more upright.
Go ahead and give me a field roll, just so that we can judge how this is going to work.
Field roll. Okay.
While that's happening, hello Raiders.
Oh,
Hi,
we have
Raiders.
Hello, Raiders.
So Medic.
Hello. Special little
Whoops.
No.
Oh, yeah,
no.
no.
Okay. I have a 4, a 3, and a 2.
Okay, so 2 successes. Some of the trees straighten, like are released from that particular field that was holding them in the position that they were. A couple just sort of stay pointed in the way that they were. Still somewhat offset by that field that was generating from you. And Orfi just, ain't no protocol about asking you to put the trees back where you found them. But,
Oh, I definitely found them here. Maybe not like this, but in the spot that they were in. I can't uproot them. That's difficult.
okay, but look, anybody uses the flashlight and has it flashed and like focused in your face for no reason. He's just used to.
It's just like you see Orfi doing this while he's talking.
Look here. I understand that there's a lot that I don't ask about because the only supernatural fighting I do is in my dreams when I be fighting them demons. But during the day, I don't know nothing about it. I do know I didn't see you last night. I was worried because it started raining and it's supposed to be raining. You went up at to say, hey, can I go look at the stars or whatever you do? And I ain't get my sandwich. And so I was worried.
Oh, you know what? And I walked toward him and then just kind of like gently turned him and walked toward the house.
But if you okay, I'm not gonna sit here and ask you. But if you've been by the grocery store by any chance, because you know that's not. I don't just have a relationship with you to get additional information about the woman of my dreams. That's not something that I do, because I do respect you as an individual as well. And
I have some leftover fruit from
like
last
our
night. Would you like some?
Oh, I couldn't possibly impose. But if you
I just pull
had
out
some
2.
extra to judge you, I can take off.
Like, by this point, we've already made it to the house. I'm pretty sure he knows that she made it.
Yeah.
So just give him half of whatever she sent me home with.
Yeah, well, I really did just come to check on you to make sure you was all right. I don't know if you got work or something, but it's daytime and I didn't see you last night. So
what time is
I had to
it?
put eyes on you, guys. But it was look like say 8 to. Honestly, I can't tell you. My phone, my watch don't work, but twice a day, I am on time. But wait a minute. He looks, he taps it again. Yes, Daddy. It's not waterproof. I wear a waterproof one, so it just says it's 11:15.
Probably around that time, Rose pulls up in the general area and just starts honking on the horn.
Oh, that is public disturbance and a noise in the thing. And you just see Zeke waddle over there towards the van.
Hey, I like your galoshes.
Hey, aren't they sharp though? Ain't they
Yeah,
sharp?
they look really good.
Yes, you know how I look at. Oh, you still listening to that music that sounds like somebody's looking for answers?
Yeah. I am, and I gotta say, all of them really are looking for answers. Just probably not in the right places.
Well, it's good. I'm all about having good. Like everybody got different tastes. I heard somebody likes some music where they just tap on the table and breathe into a microphone. That personally gets on my nerves. That right there, I can't do it. But,
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you with that. I couldn't handle that.
Like, okay, I just be wanting to help somebody out, and they're like, no, it's comfort, and of course, if it comforts somebody, take that comfort when you can get it. But that just make me feel like something's about to get me. What? Wait a minute. You ain't normally out here in the Orfi. You're having a.
I just come outside with a piece of paper towel, like wiping off my mouth because I sat inside and ate my food.
Yes.
Hey, Rose.
Hey, Orfi.
Well, I'm head out. And he has his plate and his.
Do you want to ride into town?
Oh no, I've got to. Oh, you talking? Or
No.
Orfi, are you talking to
No,
me?
talking to you. Zeke. Yeah.
Oh, dang. No, I have to finish sweeping the perimeter, cause that is my job.
Are you a police officer?
He's a park ranger.
Why would I?
Oh, okay.
I ain't never served. I am security. It says when he opens up his little raincoat to show where the security is embroidered on his lapel. I'm security. That's what I am. Ain't no ranger or officer. Ain't none of that. I'm security.
I kind of like lean over and casually go, before you finish the perimeter, you should probably go and finish that plate you left on the table. But please lock up when you leave.
I have to go sweep Orphe's home to make sure that while they were absent, did nothing sneak in the windows. I'm gonna go handle that. He's looking at the plate in his hand. You see how every slice, there's just the right density. She got that touch on this cake. Ooh. I mean, I appreciate the talents of all of our. He just quickly makes his way back in.
All right, and they leave for the record store.
Oh wow,
then-
is that time already?
Yeah, we're a little late actually.
Oh,
It's okay.
sorry about that. I lost track of time.
Oh, all right.
I was practicing something. Like a while ago, we had a whole thing that we had to do where we had to like run from one place to another place, but not get wet by anything. And that was kind of, maybe it's a little bit easier now because I live near trees. It was harder the last time because there weren't any trees. And there was a giant hurricane.
That's a lot.
But seeing all of the stuff from yesterday had me thinking about old times. So I went to go practice some stuff.
Well, hell yeah. I mean, I only saw a little bit of what you could do yesterday, but I was really impressed. So whatever you're practicing, I'm really excited to see what you've got in store.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is everything okay?
He said I had to fix the trees. I don't know how I'm gonna do that though.
Rose kind of looks in the rearview mirror and sees a few of them and is just like, oh, I think they look fine. You know, there are weird things that happen to trees. Who can explain it?
You know, sometimes it's sunlight, and sometimes it's just things like the full of the moon and minerals and animals and things.
Trees are good and other plants are good at knowing what they need. If they need sun, they reach for the sun. If they need water, they kind of reach out into the ground. So I think those trees are getting exactly what they need.
Maybe.
Maybe you're helping them get that. Or maybe you're helping them learn new ways to get the things that they need.
That sounds nice. I like that better. Maybe I'll tell Zeke that the next time he asks me about this.
Yeah. You doing all right otherwise? Seeing the people from your old school?
I think so. But I feel like, you know, if the place I used to train is involved, one of them will probably come back. But we might have to fight them.
One of your old teammates?
Maybe. I hope not. It's... How do I say this? The things that we learned at the Forge are good for dealing with enemies, but not for dealing with friends. And definitely not for dealing with buildings. And this town has a lot of buildings and a lot of beautiful things, people, that definitely do not deserve the kind of thing that a person trained by the Forge might cause if a fight happened. So, let's just hope we don't have one.
Well, I think there are two things we can do with that, or two possible options. One is if there is a fight, we make sure it's away from the city and all those beautiful things we care about. I'm pretty sure that all of us are pretty good at throwing things in one way or another, so just throw things out there in the woods, away from the people and buildings. The other way is finding another place to train.
Also, can you really pull things out of people's teeth?
Yeah, I can. I've helped some people with hip replacements as well. And iron deficiencies, iron too much iron in the body. Basically anything that has any sort of metallic element, even non-ferrous metals, I can manipulate. Like sometimes when the car breaks down and the engine doesn't work, I can make it seem like I'm driving because I just push it forward. It's really convenient.
There are a lot of ways that could be very, very useful. You can probably shoot quarters like a shotgun. That's really cool.
I have done that. And then the other thing is you get a handful of quarters, maybe like 20 or a roll of them. And then while they're moving like that shotgun, then you split them up into about some like 200 other bits. And then it's like a 20 times shotgun. It's really easy to be creative with certain things.
Oh, kind of like a meteor shower.
Yeah, exactly like a meteor shower.
Okay.
Yeah, we arrive at the record store shortly.
Um, and in the record store, Soul is doing his best to be hospitable, but Soul communicates more. They're like making recommendations of music than he does actually talking to people. So it's just kind of like that awkward. He said he got some water bottles for everyone, and it's just like, whoa. So I have started like expanding into like looking at streaming systems to like listen to more to get an idea of what I want to purchase. But the problem is, from a connection standpoint, they don't make physical copies of everything anymore. So you can't hold on to that memory in a collection and pass it on to like someone else who's having a hard time.
Hey, Soul. Hey, just stop you
Yeah.
right there.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever heard about burning CDs?
Yeah, we've got like there's a computer back there, but then they start talking about like should you or should you not, and there's just something about going to a store or to a fair and picking it out of the box and like, hey, I haven't seen this one. And
Yeah, no, I
having it.
totally hear you, but think about the accessibility of the digital access that it gives people. So many artists just can't afford to distribute their music or to join a record label, and we all know how that goes for some people, especially more marginalized creators. So really, it's like it's like a fair balance. If you listen to them more and you push your stuff, buy some t-shirts, maybe they can get enough money to put the EP out physically.
Yeah, and I mean, think about when disco was first coming out. Everyone would swap vinyls and then cassette tapes, and then we all know that everyone was copying them on their own time and then giving them back. So, like, it's kind of the same thing. It's just reaching more people.
Hey,
Really,
Soul.
just go to the show, buy a shirt.
Yeah.
Hey, Soul, I have something that you might find interesting.
Is it something I'd find interesting, or is it like an interesting thing?
Well,
So I want to like respond in a way that's not offensive.
well, since you like albums
Yeah.
and things, do you like music on the radio?
I feel like this is a trick question.
It is not a trick question.
Okay, it's a straightforward question. Of course, I like audio.
Okay, I would like to show you something. You said you had a computer. Where is the computer?
It's in the box.
You have not assembled the computer?
Like,
Yeah, wait.
if I need to do anything, I've got a laptop for like processing payments and stuff, and I've got like the Square thing for people that do things digitally, but like
So
I
there
haven't
is
had the time. I've not been in the space yet.
there is a place on the internet that has all of the play tapes that they had for radio programs going all the way back to 1935.
Oh yeah.
And these things are things that they don't have on vinyl, and in some cases don't have in physical forms anywhere because they couldn't find a way to preserve them otherwise. And that, I believe, is part of the brilliance of having some digital means. And I think you, being the music historian you are, could definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not against it. I just was finding a challenge and an opportunity that's so easily accessible to people, I guess, that are plugged into that, and trying to find where I fit in that rhythm. You know what I mean?
Have you tried being a radio station?
Well, you know, I set up the radios in the towers, and I go handle all of that. Oh, well, you might not know that, but yeah.
There's a program. This one is kind of old, so it's probably been lost to time. But if you use it, it will allow you to play a radio station that anyone in the world could hear. So if you have things here that people wouldn't have been exposed to, you can use that to tell people about these things. And if they're interested, you can tell them where to get physical copies of them.
So I'm gonna table that recommendation for a time where I can really marinate on it. Kind of like, is that something that I want to, because I've got the girls to take care of, and I've got the shop and the inventory, and I don't want to put more on myself than I can responsibly handle. And that feels like connecting with people in a way that requires accountability, and I'd want to do it right if I did it. So I like that idea, though.
But you have things to think about.
I like it. I have so many things to think about. Like, I don't forget anything ever. It's a lot of pressure. And then he says, "So come on." They said Auntie Jewel wanted me to create a space for you all where are you trying to keep sound out, or are you trying to keep sound in?
Yes.
Both.
I think we're trying to keep sound in more than anything else.
Yes.
Takes a deep breath. He said, "And you said Auntie sent you?"
Yes, of course.
Or she
With the
was about
highest
to
of
turn the hose on.
recommendations.
And did she send you to, like, did she send you because the records I have are more than just music records?
Likely,
Or-
yes. We need to know some things that we can't discuss outside of the booth.
He says, "All right." And he takes you towards the back, and it's a studio-like area. It has a couch, and it's got a guitar, a bass, a drum set, like stuff that's set up for people who want to do studio recording, including that booth, old school recording booth. But he takes you into the area outside and closes the door. All right. I mean, he looks nervous for a minute as he just looks at each of you. And he places his hand on the door and takes a deep breath and closes his eyes. And he makes a soft humming sound. And it's a sustained note. And then all of a sudden, you all can't hear that note anymore. And then he looked, well, all right, y'all got, it's been a minute, so let's say a good 40 minutes.
Wait,
He pauses.
do you?
I can't be outside the door because then I can't. It's harder for me to hear the waves from the. So, like, I've got to be here, but if you want, I can make it so that it's harder, so you might have 20 minutes instead, if you don't want me to hear.
No,
what you all
sorry.
talking
Are you
about.
also from the academy? Wait a second. What's happening?
The Academy? No.
Huh.
The Forge?
No.
Garden.
No, I'm not that good with plans.
I believe what my friends might be trying to ask you is, do you happen to have unusual abilities or experiences related to sound?
You know, or like this, and is gonna drop the tote but levitate it
Mhm.
instead.
I thought that's why. And then Sol looks nervous when you all start asking questions, and he's like, "I thought that's like you said, Auntie sent."
Yeah, she didn't tell us why to come talk to you. She just said,
She just told us you would be the person to come to.
Is everyone here, like,
You know something?
I like fire spark in my hands.
So maybe this will help. So you know how it started raining suddenly for no reason a couple of days ago?
Yeah, it's been keeping me up.
And you know how it's still raining? Well, we have reason to believe that people like all of us are the reason that that's happening, and that other things might follow. And we were asked to come here to figure out what to do in a place that it would be relatively safe to do that without being overheard or maybe spied on. So that is why we are here. But Auntie, being the person that she is, didn't tell us things about you that you wouldn't have wanted to tell us yourself, I guess would be the best way to say it. But for what it's worth, all of us are very much like you, except that we had very strange childhoods where we grew up in places that trained us in one way or another on how to use our abilities.
Oh, the thing with the doctors. It's
Yes, that.
Yeah, exactly.
That explains why Auntie knows those things.
Okay, so y'all think something's happening here. Auntie sent you to me. Did not let you all. Yeah.
We don't think we know factually that things are happening here.
Okay, and how do you know? Because this is a.
Well, we saw them do it. We talked to the people that did it. They were from all of our respective places. Actually, apparently they were called in again on a mission. Although
Auntie also saw them if you would like to ask her about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
it looks to Ahui said something about a mission.
Yeah, which is why they left us a nice present and like taps on the top of the styrofoam plate of the bag that she's taken back into holding, and is no longer levitating because didn't want to maintain that. We need to know more about why they're targeting this town, why they're here of all places, and any info that you have would be great, really. They came, they made it rain, we tried to C-team over here tried to interrogate them. Didn't go terribly well. And basically they said they have their orders. They admitted that they were the ones who made the rain, etc. I blew up their car a little bit. And that's that.
Soul is just like has this moment of, it's not a blank stare, but it's like I'm processing all of this stare, and then he goes, okay, so Crater Cove has existed for maybe like, I want to say it was all the way back 100 years, but the crater looks like Crater Cove was a unique location because people had to interfere to keep something very catastrophic from happening to the city 5 miles away. There wasn't much here except for like trees and people who wanted to get away, but there was a real present threat that they kept. There's music in the background. Oh, even as everything is happening.
we okay?
Cool.
Hold on, I'm listening.
Okay. So like you have to know the history of Crater Cove. The crater was created because we had to redirect something and then pull it down further so that there was less of an impact and more of just a settling. He pauses. The doctors came together because, like, you have to know before they could come up with the program, they had to have identified that this was a possibility. Like, people have always been around that seem to be able to run faster or respond more quickly or whatever. But after what happened here, they had, like, the evidence they needed to suggest that there needed to be control functions around it. And it almost sounds like, even though with his tone and his cadence, that he is repeating verbatim something that he either heard or read as he continues to talk about the history of the town, how it was formed because something was falling from the sky, and how it was redirected to a certain point, how people had calculated how deep or how much of the impact would have to be cushioned to prevent more catastrophic damage from it, and how the town was built around it with the watchtower in order to keep an eye not just on the hole itself, but on anything else that might be happening above. And he gets to a point, he says, but at some point there was no more, like, threats from above, and everything seemed to be settled. So all the residents here just sort of built up everything and have just been chilling. But most people leave things alone because there's like a field here that doesn't prevent the usage of abilities, but kind of like low level inhibits them maxing out the closer you are to the crater, which I'm sure all of you, okay, I'm not going to make any more assumptions because I'm operating from 0.
Honey, I think you're muted in the Google chat.
Meets.
Yeah,
That might be
Honey
it.
and Christian are.
Am I
Okay.
muted in the... Have I
Nope,
been muted
there
in
you-
captions this whole
There
time?
you go.
There you be.
I didn't notice. I haven't been looking at them.
Yep, there we go. You're popping up.
Okay. And I apologize because I can't really keep track of what's happening in the Twitch chat as much as I can what's happening in the Zoom chat.
No
So my
worries.
apologies, everyone, if I don't notice that something is happening when it is happening.
So, I think I look at everyone else and I'm like, okay, that sounds like a lot like the places we came from doing something, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like all 3 of them.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%.
Something's going on with that crater. Like, do we go check it out? Is it too soon for that?
It makes the
Should
most
be chill though. Like,
is the watchtower just like, I've never gone, can we just like go to it? Are we just allowed up in there?
I mean, if you talk to the right, go and do maintenance on the radios because they have to be able to communicate with each other. But
What happens if they can't?
well, there's looks different person to person. That's never like happened. Like each night, like Zeke goes to each tower and signs off on everything looks all clear. And we record it. He pauses, reaches into a drawer, and pulls out a very thick brown book and like turns to like a date that's more recent, and he shows like logs. Now he's also written things out, and it looks like he's written scales because how he thinks and hears and so on. But there are numbers, and he's just saying, so like everything seemed clear up until then. Last night was kind of weird. Zeke said stuff was not really showing up as clear, but nothing was like setting off the instrument. So if Auntie sent you here, like you all know that this town was created because they thought it would never exist.
That the town wouldn't exist?
Well, yeah, like they had this nice land, nobody was on it. Like even like if you talk to some of the people who can like trace their lineage back, you know, to the indigenous people, this was an area that they avoided. Like nothing was supposed to be here. But something is here now. Because instead of allowing it to hit like places that they cared about, they redirected it to hit here. And then once the dust settled, there was no more threat, so they just built up around it.
So what you're saying is that we are actually in like the plot of like the combination between a kaiju movie and some offshoot Super Sentai series, where we're all getting superpowers from whatever the hell's in that crater.
I don't think your powers come from a crater. I think your abilities just come from DNA anomalies and differences. Everybody is an individual, and how it was. And then he goes back into that, yes, this is my voice and cadence, but I'm repeating something that I heard. Every individual is born with unique characteristics across the board. There is no person who was born with the exact same genetics. Now, some of those genetics tend to lean towards sensitivity or affinities to certain types of energies, and if those things are allowed to develop beyond the confines of environmental expectations, you get people with quote-unquote superpowers. And he goes, but like it really is just somebody can blink, somebody can run. I've got really sensitive hearing, and they thought I couldn't hear, but just everything was so overwhelming that I hear everything but like nothing at the same time, because sound is its own entity that I've had to learn to live alongside.
I give I think is it an Orfi a look with these like this like rote like memorization repeating of something I learned.
Yeah.
I'm just like I just give you two like a look and like a look back at Soul.
I pauses, and you see his hand goes up to it. You can talk here. No one from the outside can hear what's happening in here. But if you're saying someone has come here to interfere with the natural fields that are around here, then absolutely the town can become a magnet again. And that's a...
It might be a thing I fear, especially because they said strange things before they left. Like, they told us to watch for the stars.
You see this dust complexioned individual pale when you say that. And he just goes, "Oh."
But what does that mean? What do you mean, oh?
So, it only takes, like, to us, we may think, oh, something big would have to fall, like something really big, like, oh, it's a boulder, it'd have to be big as a mountain to make a gorge. But velocity, and he pauses, and he starts to rub his fingers on each hand together, like he's almost snapping, but he's not. Then he pauses. There's a math thing, and I don't feel like doing math because it's my least favorite subject at all. I only know numbers when it comes to rhythms and beats. But the faster the tempo of object outside of our atmosphere moves towards our atmosphere, the higher velocity, the impact of it, no matter what the size, is bigger. It's going faster, and it's louder when it lands. It's going to be louder when it lands. And if they have disturbed the protective fields that repel that means that anything that could potentially fall here, because this is all a magnet, will fall here. Unless something stops it.
Do they anticipate something falling from the sky again? And then what's with the rain so that we can't see it until it's too late?
The field, if they can disturb the field that naturally exists to protect this area that we have set up artificially through the towers, it creates a field that keeps this area where the crater is from being the magnet that it is. Debris is always going through space. That always happens throughout the atmosphere. There's always background noise. But if you remove the sound filter, if you remove the soundproofing, then you can hear it. And if you can hear it, that's the impact.
What they have to gain from letting things hit this area? Oh.
It's what I said earlier. They're trying to cause an event that makes the government think that they can make more superheroes.
Because they need us.
Yes.
Save everyone.
Because it fits their worldview.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know maybe half of the words that have been said in this whole conversation, but I do know we just need to stop these people, the people from the forge, the garden, the academy, all those, the old people, from meddling and leaving stuff like that. And I point at the tote bag, stuff like that in Crater Cove, stuff like that in Crater Cove.
Hey, DM, I have a question. Because I spend so much time with them, do I know anything about local celestial events?
You know that because the sky is so clear, you usually can see most of them very clearly. Like if there's a shower, in the sky, and it looks like, oh, look at the pretty stars, or or shooting star, like everything is so clear here. But nothing that seemed too out of the norm until you start thinking back on it. Again, the focus on, they always say, we look at the surface of the lake to see whether things are going well or not. And it just seems like an old wives' tale. Hey, if you can see that the top of the lake is crystal clear, everything is okay. Because there's never been a day where you cannot see the sky clearly reflected off of the surface of that crater lake. Until recently. Which interferes with the field that they have created.
I have a question for you, Sol. It might be personal. Who taught you how to do all of this? did you just figure it out on your own? But excuse my directness, but some of the way you behave feels familiar.
It's a lot like how we were taught to memorize and repeat back information.
I didn't have to be taught. I just don't forget anything that I hear.
But where did you hear it in the first place?
From someone who thought the plans of the 3 doctors were ridiculous.
Was it Auntie?
You know, they were like, hey. No, Auntie was just in charge of like helping people who were trying to escape past experiments and all the rest of that. I just
just super cash,
I just
That explains why she wasn't so freaked out by us.
Yeah.
I can't tell. And the soldiers is like, there are some things that I can tell because I have 100% permission to share that with people who are in need. But when it comes to somebody's identity and who they are, if they've not given me permission to like let someone know that that's them, I really can't. It's not chill, but I can let them know that you all might need to know that. I also
That would be helpful.
don't think that all 3 doctors are working together. It would just take one to decide something and make it seem like it was all of them.
Well, whether it's all of them or one, we've got a problem.
You might get help from the ones who saw the error in their ways and decided to do something different. Sometimes, yeah.
I think the question is if we have time to find them and reach out to them. We have no idea where they are. And we don't know. It's clear they're already acting. Whoever is doing this. We know that the doctor from the Forge is at least involved in this. So
that makes Sol go, and his head tilts to the side as he's going through probably his expansive memory bank. Dr. Amaz?
Yep.
He says, alright, so I can tell you this. Go ask Zeke. You can go ask Zeke about the towers and get access to that. That'll probably be a good place to start. See if things have actually been negatively impacted. But if you ask Zeke, just ask him about... Just mention Dr. Ramaz, but make sure you've got something to bribe him with so that he feels comfortable before you bring up the topic. Because, like, we don't choose our siblings, but sometimes, like, mentioning them can stress us out. So, just go talk to Zeke. He'll be able to get you some more information. And I'm sorry, y'all. It's just
I can help with that.
I've not had to do this in a while. So in about a minute or two, the field is going to drop.
That's okay.
I think
But
we're
I hope
fine.
I've been helpful.
Yes.
I have one more
Absolutely.
question, so
You've got maybe 2 minutes max.
what happened how the last time the field broke, if that happened? How did you fix it?
The field's never broken. The field was created because of the magnetized redirection. Somebody redirected what was falling into this space because of how everything is under the ground, the vibrations and so on, so it was easier for it to target here with the slight nudges. People, however they did that. But the field has been in place for the last 50, 60 years, so nothing else has ever fallen here. It was suppressed from the news. Nobody knew that all this stuff was happening, but it's a nice little town and it's chill, So, that sound, that sensation that happens when like your ear pops at altitude? Yeah. There's that kind of sound that resonates with everybody as he just staggers forward, and just holds his ear for a moment. I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a couple hours. Yeah.
That's all right. You've been a really big help. Yeah.
Thank you.
So much for giving us a tour of your record store.
Yeah.
You want to see what I just got? It's like these records from like somebody recorded like this beautiful music, and he just goes on this kind of slight ramble about some new records that he got from a collector all the way in a different country, and how he was amazed that the reach was that far, and what he's music and sound is how he communicates.
I will absolutely listen. I will absolutely listen to the entire thing.
I buy a record of whatever Auntie's favorite band is.
Okay. And so yeah, he leaves you with probably more information that some of y'all that have been here for almost the full 10 years ever knew about the town, and who else knows and who doesn't know, and the little snippets about Auntie and what exactly that means. But after all of these,
clue about Zeke too. Jeez.
Not Paddington Bear's evil twin being the bad guy.
Wait.
Honey, are we playing the script of Paddington Bear 3?
You legally have to tell me right
You
now.
have to tell us.
I will cover it on my podcast. You have to tell me right now. This is Bear 3.
Oh, I wish. I love teddy bears. So with that said, and I'm also looking at the clock, as you get towards the entrance of the record shop, it's still raining. It's eased up quite a bit, but it's still raining. And there are two peahens standing there staring at the front door. And if they had lips, it would be like that typical pursed lip look of judgment. And they just stare as you come through the front door.
I'm told you know what you did, I say as I try and scoot past them.
And you just had Puck rolls her neck when you say that. Just, they don't attack, the soul is there, and he's like, ladies. But they are just mean mugging you all the whole time you come out.
Why am I catching strays?
I hand Eisen a card.
Okay. I take the card.
And I say, I drew this when Soul made that facial expression when I talked about the stars.
I recall back to when that was, and I was really trying to pay attention as Eisen. What card is it?
I have DM'd you a picture of the card so you can see it.
Okay. Hold on. My Discord's in another window. Oh. Okay. Okay. And I go, that's not all bad, right? Right? It just means It just means I'll get leaning into instinct and
The things that we are going to have to deal with are going to require dealing with them with somewhat extreme means.
okay.
I was gonna bring up the topic. What are our rules of engagement here? I did a lot in our first encounter to try and be not violent, but at this point,
Well,
there's a lot of people that are in danger here.
well, looking at the card that
That
Orfi just gave me,
that one says, "This is not a time for restraint."
yeah, I show it to everyone, and it's the devil card, and I say, I mean, we said exactly what was going to happen if they came back, and it doesn't look like they're going to pull any punches. If Crater Cove really is in some sort of danger, I'd want to do everything I can to save it. So,
I mean, there's the old abandoned orange grove outside of town.
direct the conflict over there.
Yeah, we can try and kite them out that way.
Do you think they're tracking those? And I point to the bag in Ahui's hand. Do you think there's some sort of like tracking ability in there?
They might have bugged it. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter because as long as it doesn't leave this town, they don't care. It'll work here as long as it's in the town. If we were trying to get rid of, I'm assuming this is responsible for the ongoing rain. I'm not entirely sure. Probably. We'd have to get rid of it entirely. Like, we'd have to take it to a different town. So I'm pretty sure as long as it doesn't leave the town, they're not going to care where we're carrying it.
Do you think there are more? Maybe we gather all of them up and
entirely possible.
Let me can I try and recognize the particular types of metal in this and then put my feelers out into the town and see if I can feel anything?
Yes. And hold that. I'm making a note. There's one thing that needs to happen before that.
okay.
All right.
Ahui. As everyone has been discussing the forge and the garden, we were trained to be weapons and we were trained to use our abilities and this and that. One thing that may come to mind is, you remember there was a speech that Dr. Meros gave, like when all of you first started. Dr. Meros was very critical about the ability, about the concept of power. Was very critical about the idea of it being something that needs to be used. In fact, one of the famous quotes from Dr. Meros was simply, "Our existence is the singularity. From this fixed point we observe." And you remember Dr. Meros would just hone up, we have to understand how it works. And by learning how it works, we can better respect that it works this way and not abuse the knowledge that we have and the laws that you all had to memorize over and over again. The idea that if we endeavor to affect change on something that exists, it in return will affect change in a way that we cannot control. And it was this inspirational kind of thing for some people. Other people were like, so I can literally control water, and you're saying, don't control the water, just know that you can control the water. Like, and there was some people that would make fun of Dr. Meros and their speeches, simply because she stressed the academics. And she said, yes, if you're learning to cook and you want to cook the food, okay, fine, But if your job is to be a health and safety specialist to go in and make sure people are doing things all right or to observe it, you don't need to be putting your hands on the spoon to stir the food. Like one time somebody gave her this analogy and she was like, if your job is to inspect the kitchen, why on earth would you be trying to cook the meal? Well, to see if it works. But that is the job of the people who are already in place. You just need to make sure that they can do that safely, and the change that they affect on other people won't cause lasting damage. And so there was always some mixed feelings about Dr. Meros' approach, because yes, all these super capable, powerful people, and there was a shift about your time where some of the teachers would like, okay, this is what she said, but, and would kind of take their liberties with it all. And speeches from Dr. Meros became far less frequent. But those concepts of actually using the different affinities or weaponry and so on, that's even why the little devices were like speculated. Hey, we can just create this thing so we don't have to do it. But she was like, but you're still trying to change how things are working by like, and they're like, well, so it was a whole thing. But in your mind, these memories come back to that quote, our existence is a singularity, and from this fixed point, we observe. So when they start talking about fields, and they talking about how many of these objects might be there probably are quite a few, and I'm going to have Rose do a roll here soon. But there's probably a network that has been created around a singular point. And Rose, will you give me your... I'm going to be honest, this would be a field roll to see if you can expand your awareness to pick up more on these things. But you can always do a pitch for using a different ability.
Say that one more time.
This would normally be a field roll because you are extending your abilities to pick up on things within a field. But I'm always open to a pitch on using a different ability and how that would be being used.
So, Rose is thinking a lot about the no restraint, and remembers the kind of surge of magnetism that they got from touching the science ball, and is going to reach in the bag and just hold it and just let their power kind of grow and maybe use power from that.
I was on mute. Okay, give me a power roll.
All right. A 1 and a 3 and another 1. So 2 1s and a 3.
Okay, 3 successes. To best describe this, you do get kind of like geolocation pings of other places where this energy pulses. But that's the key word. It pulses. Not just with an electrical vibration, but almost with a bioelectrical vibration as well.
Like they're in people.
From a metallic standpoint, it almost feels like this is an organic metal.
Okay.
It is foreign to what you're used to picking up on, but it still has those properties.
Okay. Okay. Rose is going to look at everyone and say, Are we going scorched earth here?
No, I think if we have to scorch earth again, they abandoned orange grove. I can never get the oranges to grow back.
Well,
I tried my damnedest.
The one thing is, that's what I was about to say. I remember the metal that was in their earpieces. I can make them shoot into their heads.
Oh.
Ears are really weak.
Yeah, no, that so.
Okay, we can wait.
And I will posit this question here, and Brandy will come back and I'll ask it again. Because we stand on the precipice of a decision, both narratively and individually as characters. Of what, just like Auntie had said before, not just what, but why specific actions need to be taken. Yes, we want to protect the town, keep the people from being harmed, but is the focus on endeavoring to eliminate the people who seem theoretically to be the threat, or to investigate and see what exactly may be the external threat that makes the individuals basically meaningless? Where will the energy be focused when it comes to the decision that the group makes? And I am very curious to see what happens. Because we've got the stars, and we've got the people.
I will answer as Alec back to Rose. Yeah, I mean, we can do that. That is mostly if they come back. I mean, we made it very clear we would physically remove them from the town, and if they was just getting removed and try and take anyone out, I mean, I'm not gonna let that happen to anyone here. I am, much like some of my other friends here that went through the forge, a cannon. So if it's someone standing here or something they fling from space, a cannon can make good use for either of those. Just someone give me the go word.
Because that's the question, isn't it?
Yep.
What are we fighting?
Jesus Christ.
I also, Ahui, I don't think any of us want to repeat our C-team bullshit from earlier.
I should hope not.
Well, what do you think our next steps should be?
I was gonna crack of the knuckles, just popping. Well, can you so I had to step away. What was the result of your scan? Your scan.
There are a number of them in town. I didn't get a specific number, but it was just like there are a bunch. 5.
The one that we have, which is 6.
Yeah.
It's a pretty number. Okay, well, from what I remember, somebody who probably involved in this. With the number that are around town, one of them is probably the centerpiece. It's probably not the one that we picked up. So we need to find and disrupt or disable these, because unless we do, it's just going to keep raining and disturbing the field. And we need to have a plan, actionable plan for possible... Well, if their goal is to create a need for superheroes, we're going to have possible evacuation plan for town without telling them what's happening. Because if they want to prove that we need superheroes, they're probably more than likely willing to risk and sacrifice everybody in this town. Find these weird things and get them out of here. They are harmless in themselves. It'd probably already work if we just found them all and brought them out of town, or brought them at least away from where they're disrupting the field. So that should be our first step, since we can't exactly track down the people anymore. They're probably long gone.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, well,
right.
You need to simply uproot all of the ones that you found. I think there's a relatively simple way to do that. But first, we need to know what range you have, and then we can just take them. Well, we need to pick a point that's out of town and maybe a few 100 feet in the air, which I can help with.
Well, I was going to suggest, what if, Orfi and I working together, we can make a gravity slingshot and launch them halfway across the earth.
We're veering into C-Team territory with that plan, but
Okay.
it is... If you could guarantee to get it out of our planet's orbit, that would be great. If you can't get it out of orbit and it starts to come down, then all of this heavy mass is just going to come down and crash on another town somewhere else. Unless you can maybe lower it into an ocean of sorts. But since they're still active, it'd probably only work if we managed to get them out of the atmosphere.
Well, if this particular one has the effect of amplifying powers, it should be a relatively easy thing to do.
Well, they all do. They'll all have that effect. This is what they were built for. These were built at the academy. I don't really remember the person who made them, because why would I? But I recognize them.
Well,
Alex got something.
If that's the case, then we can definitely get them out of orbit, but I should not be in town when I do that.
Yes.
Wait,
So, go ahead.
I have a question. Okay, so these things are made to amplify power.
Amplify and sustain. So, for example, if I had one that was blank, like this one is currently loaded up and locked in, if I had one that was blank and I wanted to imbue my power into it, and I don't know, electrify everything within a certain radius, I would imbue my power into it, and it would be able to basically be me while I leave, and it would continue to electrocute everything within range indefinitely without me needing to be there to top it off.
Okay, so I don't know, whatever's in the crater suppresses power. Have we considered trying to drop something that makes power stronger? If there's a bunch of people in this town that apparently have powers, had power, are being born with powers, like, what if they aren't trying to convince the government they're needed? What if this is like part 2?
They're doing static shock. They're doing the Big Bang.
Yeah.
So
I need
what?
you to stop talking cultural references that I...
Oh, sorry.
So, okay, I'll translate. So, in this comic, there's also a really good cartoon, Static Shock. The government is doing experiments on kids. It sounds familiar. And they get this idea that, like, what if we release all of these dangerous neurochemicals during a gang war, because no one cares about the gang kids, to see what'll happen. What if we drop something that could awaken powers in a sleepy town that most people have never heard of?
Where are you all having this conversation?
Did we ever leave that record store booth?
It feels like we were going to leave, and we were all like, "Wait."
We went outside.
Yep.
I
We
think
saw
we're
the
walking.
peahens.
Yeah.
Love
So
that.
we're
Absolutely
probably
out
in
in
the
the
van.
open. Okay, good, perfect. Yeah, we're probably in the van, all of us then. Yeah. Thank God.
There is a mini fridge with like drinks and
Do you live
like
in the
yogurts
van?
and snacks.
Sorry.
Is the van carpeted?
No. No.
It's a mystery machine.
It was very quick. So,
What's
You know something? It should be though.
What is the make and model of this van?
It's an old like Scooby Doo
Nice.
mystery
Yeah,
machine.
microbus.
what have you
Yeah.
painted? What have you painted on the side of this van?
So it was in the first episode.
have
On
an
the
answer.
sides, it's on each side it's a dragon
Yes.
with rainbows coming out of its wings.
Yes.
And then on the back doors, one door is it's the Motorhead symbol, which is like a dog with teeth that looks very like a hot rod engine coming out, and the other one is the Eddie from Iron Maiden, the kind of like corpse looking dude.
Perfect. Incredible.
This is Ahui's canonical face every time they have to see or step into the van.
You know, I've been thinking about putting carpet in, but I feel like it would just get dirty. I just have to clean it more. I'll definitely think about it though. Yeah.
there's a knock on the side of
Oh no.
the passenger side where that door would slide shut.
Slide it open.
I just love how you
Sir.
just open. And what you see with their short pixie cut like hair, freckles on their cheek, standing out even more because their skin is so pale, eyes red rimmed like someone who hasn't slept for hours, is utterly exhausted and not soaked through and through, because I take that back. Soaked in the way that seems like it's happening from the inside out. Standing here at the door, just looking bone tired and exhausted. And everyone from the forge understands that unlike the other places, you all were taught how to generate your abilities from inside out as opposed from outside in. And you just see a very terrified and exhausted, and you all have seen this before for when they did endurance training at the forge, when someone was forced to use their ability beyond their normal ranges.
Yeah.
Just an exhausted, wet rat looking, but like they have sweated, like it's all sweat coming out of them. Exhausted looking Fritz, who looks terrified and just utters one word with not the "I'm acting and I'm trying to put it on," but it's this half whispered before
That
Fritz
cut out for us, honey.
faints.
What
The
is-
word.
They say help.
I catch
It's
as
just
they.
help
Yeah. I'll.
as they go
catch
down
them.
and collapse.
See, and this is why this was
and the
supposed
rain
to stay prototype.
intensifies.
Oh.
And the rain just intensifies when Fritz passes
Yes.
out. And that, half in the van, passed out,
Yeah. I'm holding.
is where we wrap this particular. Yeah,
Shit.
Oh my god.
is is where we end this particular episode. As
I'm all
the
wet
rain
now.
goes from a downpour to just torrential, as if someone has lost all control. On your left
Excellent.
here, this
Perfect. How does this go wrong?
situation. And we'll go to each person for the character epilogue and outro. And we will start with Ahui.
Hi everybody, I am Brandy Rose at the
You
Brandy
gotta do
Rose
your
on
character
Twitter.
epilogue
Oh,
first.
that's right. I
Yeah.
lost it. Ahui's head empty. My head also empty.
Okay.
No, Ahui does have thoughts. Ahui is annoyed. Ahui is not surprised. So it's more the thought process, especially seeing Fritz collapse, and noting like, and this, yep, this is why. This is another reason why these never went beyond prototype stage. Pretty sure, because in the end, the laws of physics are, the laws of physics, and you can't just sustain something out of nothing. Power that's sustained can't just be duplicated. It has to come from a source. So it makes sense that the source is now wet, exhausted, and collapsed halfway in our mystery machine. So, excellent. Great. However, good thing is, my first thought was this person's really, really wet. It's very easy to electrocute somebody when they're very, very wet. So that's useful. Second thought now is, well, we have to figure out a way to, he's probably dehydrated, rehydrate and wake this person up. Probably take him on. He's can't exactly go to a hospital. And see if we can get information out of him and use this somehow to find the rest of the objects and maybe convince this idiot to join us, I guess, versus the other idiots that the smaller idiot works for. That's about Ahui's thought process. And now mine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Yep.
I'm Brandy Rose at the Brandy Rose on Twitter. I'm a tabletop and otherwise as well performer, variety streamer, game designer, producer, podcast producer, etc., etc. You can follow my podcast network, the Patoot Podcast Network, at Patoot Podcasts, where amongst some very, 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 I'd say fun, dorky, joyful shows. Well, there's also some educational ones where my blood pressure goes like really, really high, which everybody seems to really like. Where I give sexual health tips and tricks as well as adult industry information. But our newest show is a show that I actually co-host with our amazing Christian right here, called To Be Movie or Not To Be Movie, which is the eternal question, where every other week we listen to or we watch a B movie and we discuss it. And the selection is pretty wild. I would take a listen. It's on Spotify right now, and all of the other two podcasts are also on Spotify as well as everywhere you get your podcasts. So make sure to give those a listen. Give us a nice little rating. And very soon, Patoot Podcast is also going to be releasing its first affiliate show, which is the first show in the network that I am not the host of and I am not the main producer of. So I'm very excited about that. So just make sure to keep up with me at the Brandy Rose to keep up with all the different shows that I produce, and actual plays that I produce, and streams that I do. Thanks.
All right. Austin, and to give everyone at the Forge this kind of thing, those of you who were old enough, Fritz was younger, about a couple years younger than both of you.
1942.
But Fritz's kind of negative trait was their constant like playfulness and being like chipper and kind of blasé about authority, but in a way because they thought it was funny, right? And they got reprimanded the most for it, with like the gentle parenting kind of reprimands for just always having an attitude. But it was kind of like how Fritz coped with everything that was going on. So while Fritz was part of the team that got on everybody's nerves, like their smack talking was like more from a perspective of who can I make laugh, crack, or look like they want to fight me. So Fritz was never like erudite or proud about things. Fritz just always seemed like the jokester. And for all of you, like flashbacks of Fritz accidentally dropping the bucket of water on like a monitor's head and just being like, oh my bad, did you get wet? Oh, nobody that I guess that means we've got the power. And just really sarcastic kind of stuff that would always keep them in trouble. And then here they are now, older, 10 years older, dehydrated probably, but in a weird reverse way, asking for help after just anime villain posturing the day before. And we'll go to Alec to see what is going through their mind.
Alec is considering how hot can I get that thing without touching it? If it's on and we can't turn it off and we can't touch it, and it's gonna constantly pull Fritz's powers to do whatever they're doing with the field, like getting rid of them isn't gonna do that, or putting them somewhere else, like it's still gonna hurt the person. So it's something Alec was considering before, and was like, well, we don't know what it is, but now it's like, I mean, I don't have to touch it to get it hot. Like it was just standing it before, but I didn't turn the juice on. The eyes didn't light up, so Alec is like, I don't know. What if I put inside of a sun? So that's where they're at. But me, Austin, is here with you. Hey everybody, my name is Austin, pronouns of he, they, she. I am a game writer, designer, performer, and friend. You can find me Mondays on Friends Roll Dice at 9 p.m. Eastern, every other Saturday on Transplanar, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Wednesday on my podcast, Secret Histories and Nerd Mysteries, wherever you get podcasts. And other than that, I mean, just find me on Twitter at SailorSpeedAustin, that's at SailorSCT where I tweet about projects I'm on, performances I'm doing, and which episode of King of the Hill is my favorite.
All right. Kappa.
Hello. Oh wait, no wait, it's not me just yet. It's Eisen.
Yeah.
Eisen just caught a collapsed like super soaker
Super
person. That was very flippant, as growing up, and that's the image that has been built up. And so this is a very serious of a situation for Fritz to be not throwing jokes everywhere, and not to be super villainy, but to actually come in desperation, help, asking for help. So right now, Eisen is thinking what is happening, because all of today there have been lots of words and topics and ideas like burning CDs and playlists and streaming services that Eisen just can't get his head around. So this is something that he might have actual say in how what happens. So it's a very tenuous situation, and Eisen just wants to spring into action and not leave things idling for too long. Very good cliffhanger, I will say. Hello, my name is Christian, better known as Kappa on the internet. You can follow me on Twitter at the Kappa Chris. I'm in a bunch of stuff. Brandy mentioned 2B movie. That's the letter B, not the insect.
Shut up.
It's my favorite way to introduce the podcast, because people just don't know unless you clarify. But it's a fun time. It really is. It's one of the best projects that I've had in a long time. So, and I get to do it with someone that I really respect and admire, and Brandy's amazing. As is everyone else here that you're seeing today. Other stuff that I'm on: Roads Uncharted, the first actual play podcast set in the Genesis system by Fantasy Flight Games. Everywhere you can find your favorite podcasts. New episodes released every Friday. It's a very nice, whimsical, feel-good show with a really nice, the narrative is really ramping up, and as we approach the end of season 3. Yeah. And the other thing, the really big thing that I want to announce is I'm going to be writing for Tales of Sina Una. So I'm really excited. This is super cool. Funded in 2 hours. I've been calling it Sina Una 2 Electric Boogaloo in my head. We have shark people, shark people. Jawsome. Okay, anyway. That's it. Twitter
Yes.
at the Kappa Chris. I'm tweeting about stuff. I'm tweeting about Sina Una and whatever the hell's going on in HBO. So
Ugh.
it's sad. I'm scared. Anyway,
They better
have a-
not do anything. It's the only streaming service that has all of the Ocean's movies for free, and if something happens to them, you will never see me acting right again.
Yeah, I'm also very nervous. There's a Warner Brothers Discovery partner investor meeting tomorrow. I will be checking the notes heavily because they are a publicly traded company. So the investor notes are always made public eventually if no announcements happen. So I will be coming through them. Sorry to interrupt everyone's outros. I am very invested in this for no reason.
no, same.
Really.
Yeah, Austin, thank you. Fucking godsend. Anyway.
Okay. We'll go to Orfi.
So right, we're gonna say that whole thing again. What I was saying was, Orfi is sitting down and thinking about what to do now that he knows what Rose is connected to and people that they should talk to, and what to do if things go terribly wrong in probably dramatic fashion.
Then I think you're still muted.
I shouldn't be though.
Just very
But
quiet.
why?
Yeah, no, I have the Twitch chat at max volume. I don't have you.
I can hear I can listen on Twitch, but it's just very quiet.
Okay.
Okay, the good people said I am good now, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magical, mystical, wondrous things are happening, but I'm not sure what they are or why. Listen, I just work here, okay? So, I guess now the question is, what do I do if things go wrong? Especially because I drew the devil card, which is like extreme action and like upheaval and like heavily distressing situations. Not the least of which, right after drawing, we found this person collapsed with their particular powers going out of control over the entirety of a town, which probably has terrible implications. I think Orfi is also thinking, I hope people don't have to die this time. And that is where their mind is. As for me, hi, I'm Cinziak in things. Who you can find by the same name almost everywhere except for Twitter. I am Cinziak Beta on that place. And you will find me doing things like Tech Talk Thursday podcast, where I yell at the tech industry because it deserves to be yelled at constantly. Playing Ampistrano on Saturday as a Warforged who is trying to figure out what exactly they are made for. And being here and drawing tarot cards and seeing terrible things. And that's it. That's me.
And last, but certainly not least, the owner of this fan, who thought really wisely to not have carpet, because that would have been even harder to clean. Kind of just faced with philosophy versus reality versus probability, and in so many different particular streams of consequence-driven potential that what's going through Rose's mind?
Rose is discovering that they are surrounded by more and more incredibly capable people in ways that he is not, and that fascinates him, excites him, and terrifies him, especially with everything that's going on. They keep thinking about the conversation with Orfi about when Orfi asked, "Can you actually pull things out of people's teeth?" And that got Rose's mind turning of just like, I've seen only a little bit of what Orfi could do, of what could we do together, and the absolutely terrifying things that could happen. And then that just sent Rose on a little bit of a spiral, and now this former antagonist, now a helpless little pup, is now in his van, and it just creates an incredibly complex situation of where's the line here. And Rose keeps thinking of protect this place, protect this city, this is my home. But where's that line? Yeah, I think the last thing that Rose is struggling with as we fade out from the episode is finding that balance of care, of between loving and supporting versus the fierceness and harshness of violence. Yeah. And then I am Cameron. You can find me on Twitter at worldsmith_cam. I am a tabletop role-playing game writer, designer. You can find my works in Uncaged Anthology Volume 4, in Dungeons & Dragons Adventures League, and a few other places around the world. You can find a lot of my work on CameronBlair.org. It's where I've got a lot of my stuff out there. And then you can find me on the episodes here and then on Los Casados on TTRPG. That we have 2 more episodes this coming Friday and then 2 weeks from then. If you want me to be a part of your game or podcast or write on your team, just let me know. I'm happy to work with you. And that's all I got. Oh, and then one more thing. Speaking of the HBO stuff, if anyone wants to join my pirate crew, I'm happy to teach you how to do anything. I've downloaded like 14 albums while we've been streaming, so happy to help.
Not on stream.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ooh, all right. As a person who is me, hi, I am Honey. I run games, I write games, I play games, and I created the game that is currently being played today. I'm actually a cybersecurity expert as well, so that is why I'm adding enough pause to edit the video if I need to. For that last bit, he's talking about a game. He's talking about a game that you can join and play. But on a more serious note, the only thing I want to say is thank you everyone who joined in. Thank you everybody who is watching in the future or in the VOD, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch. We appreciate every view, and please come back next week because that will be the finale. Dun da da da. We'd love to hear your fan theories or what you think is going to happen. Just use the hashtag Kinetic TTRPG, and I will be looking for those things. But I always like to leave people with the reminder to love your you, and if that's hard today for whatever reason, know that it's okay, because it's okay to be okay, and it's okay to not be okay. There's a lot of things going on right now that are causing stress, whether it originates from yourself or from people outside of yourself, and that's why you need to surround yourself with people who celebrate your successes and support you through your challenges. If they're not there for one of those things, or they're only there for one, they weren't there for you to start with. But we want to be there for you, because the world is a better place simply because you exist in it. Have a wonderful evening, a wonderful morning, a wonderful day. And I hope at least one thing in this 24-hour period makes you smile. We'll see you next week for the finale of Kinetic TTRPG.
Power Ranger Post.